Thank you very much for joining me, fellow Libra. Polina here, chatting to you a little bit about 2022. If you haven't yet, have a look at my Patreon, because if you like this type of video, I do a forecast for Libra and all the other signs every month. So if you like, check it out. It's very, very affordable, very easy to use. Also, there's other stuff like day-by-day reports. I predict every day, literally, and all that stuff. So anyway, let's talk to you about 2022 and what to keep back and what to give out. So sometimes that is the easiest way to see such a year. When you speak, how do you come across? When you're doing what you're doing, what are you putting in front of the person and what are you retaining? If you are making anything, if you are crafting, if you have design skills, or if you are reliant on the way that you give and take, it's very, very appropriate right now, as we are here in the end of December, to have a look at those trends for you. For example, do you give too much? Do you overbear? Do you speak too much? Do you take care of people way too much? Maybe you give so much that you can't really take anything back. Or you take and forgive. And that's it. It's like you take from a person and then you don't even remember how to smile back at them, or you don't really want anything to happen after you take. So the taking and giving, it really depends what kind of personality issue you have, probably, at the moment. It's something you might want to really look into. I take very little, I give way too much, or I don't remember how to give. There is something about you that has to grow up and start to be outstanding to yourself. And this is where you don't have any stylist, any helper helping you. It is more likely you're going to have friends come and comment on how you are, how you're going, how your business is going, how your family is going, but you might not really understand what to do unless you want it. So this is another thing that's happening also for me and other people I know. There's a very, very big resonance in ourselves as to what we really now want and what we really now don't like. And that's a very, very scary thing, because for some people this means bad results, and for some people it means no more minding that which we've done. And it's a little bit scary, I think, for all of us if we're relying on another person's thoughts or experiences with us. So if we rely on another person, like or dislike, if we really, really want another person to like us or to pay us, okay, or to be involved with us at any point in time, it gets like really, really boring to be around a person that is trying too hard to fit in though. So if you're one of those people that is trying to appeal to everybody, you might lose your sparkle. So it's just about what you like. And I know this is scary, especially if you've made a business or you've made yourself a personality. If you're working on YouTube or you're working with people, you're working on TV, you're doing anything public, and you kind of forgot about you and you just started making what other people wanted. Maybe you got like cosmetic surgery, maybe you made yourself into something, and then you actually understood it maybe later on in 2021. Wow, I really don't care. Even if you've been at that job for ages, even if you try to provide something for a special someone or just a group of people and you don't like the result, even if your work is selling, even if you're making money, even if your t-shirts are the bomb, even if your house is as clean as it gets, even if you have the best everybody likes, seemingly, or paid attention to a long time, you have to understand, wow, I don't like that, I don't like it. And here's where we have maybe reconstructive surgery for some people, or we have just a change of will. So some people have to really understand, look, I don't want to look like this, I don't want to make this happen, I don't want this to repeat in my life, I don't want this. And that is very, very, very hard for some people. So for example, if you made a very big move, like surgical procedures, cosmetic ones, or if you, for example, wanted to look a certain way in front of people, you have made yourself into a certain type of person in the world, or you wanted so hard and so much to be something, and then here you are and it just gets boring. And it's either you are providing it and like you like drifting off and half asleep and you're still doing that thing, or you can just know it now. Look, I know that I can make money here, I know that I'm popular here, or I know that this is a way that I have been living my life, but oh my gosh, I just don't want it. And this is difficult. So when you have something permanent and you don't want it, that's hard. So for example, this is an example, and it's very real. I have a friend like that. So okay, you had a baby, by chance feeling that this would create a family, and the person has moved on. And now you are alone with the baby, and maybe you don't really want that as that keepsake from that relationship, and it feels dark. So sometimes it's hard if you have a permanent thing. So for example, you were part of a certain group of people, you got a giant tattoo as a representative of a certain culture or tribe that is now no longer part of your world. For example, you got a big, skull and bones tattoo on your back, and you just know that you don't want to keep that thing. It's a permanent thing. It's a permanent thing, and it is infinitely with you. It is very, very hard and dark for some people, so you have to think about it. You have to really think about it. If you are making plans around something or somebody you don't want to have in your life, and if you have something benign. So for example, a benign growth, why sometimes people have certain things in their stomach, in their ovaries, things like that, prostate, they don't want this in their body, but it's just growing, it's happening. Any kind of growth, any kind of hardening of the lung or organ tissues, all of this is just because you are abundant elsewhere, but you are putting all your energy towards this thing that you signed up for. For example, I thought I would finish this course and I've got to. Or I don't really want to spend time here, but I am. If you are like this, you got to really try and understand how to work this if it's a permanent structure only. Okay, for example, you had a baby to preserve a family, that person still left, and you don't feel that happy at home with your child. If you're one of these people, you got to perfect your structures. You got to work things out. You got to get your mom in. You got to get your sisters in. You got to get helpers. You got to pay for some time. You got to help yourself also, and you also have to bring yourself over that edge. You got to really think about all of the stuff, what children are, what relationships are, what went wrong in the relationship, what happened. You got to understand why this permanent structure is in your life now, and what you've got to do to be the best you can and still service the structure, even though you don't have the hopes and dreams that were attached to that structure before. But if nothing is permanent and you are free, and you just know now you don't want to keep up a certain job or image or relationship type, grow up and leave. So this is where people move on big time. This is where, for example, your conservative views led you to a certain college, or your wild or real-time personality drove you into a certain kind of group of friends. And now you understand, look, actually enough is enough. I don't really care about any of this at all. And sometimes basically what you've got to do is, it depends on your personal dreams and hopes. It depends on your personality. You've got to do the right thing for you. And sometimes it takes some juggling. Sometimes it takes no thought. So for example, if you are in a very strong permanent structure that you now understand you don't want in your life, okay, so if it's permanent, you know now you don't want it. Here, okay, you have to think about how to accommodate it. Okay, if you don't feel it is permanent and you can change like this. You can just walk out. Look, this is a bad dream. I don't like it anymore. Some things can help you out. Maybe even if you are in a permanent structure that doesn't fully fulfill you, people are just gonna come up to you and pass glances at you and help you, give you their business card, give you their contacts. They want you to come out of that. They give you options. People would, even if it is a permanent thing that you've made, give you an option. Someone else might help you. Somebody else will do something for you. Another person will come up and say it. You just have to understand how much time you don't want to spend somewhere. If you don't want to be somewhere, it's usually for a really good reason. Because you now see yourself better, because you know yourself better. If you don't like something that you have created, or even spent your whole life creating, there's a reason why You don't want that now. And there's also a reason why you want to walk out of things that used to be of value or of peace to you. So if you have a lot of money, for example, or a lot of friends or people in the right places, yeah, that's probably quite easy for you right now. But for certain people, it's not. So like that's the thing. It kind of depends on how you are growing up and why you are doing what you're doing. So for example, for a certain person to leave a job is very easy. They've got savings or they've got parents with money. For another person, it can't be done. So when you are listening, to yourself and thinking, okay, I don't really like this, or I just don't understand how this at all fills me out, or I don't even really understand how to be here, there is going to be a gold mine of truth happening inside of you, which is going to exactly like automatically create answers. It's like enzymes, okay? It's going to automatically think for you. So when you have this part of you not developed, is maybe because you lag or you're lacking in something. So for example, if you have a weak endocrine system, if you have a certain body that has not ever been through anything, if you've never done any sport or exercise, if you've never initiated yourself, if you've never been with anybody who could have helped you do that, if you've never really tried, and you're just kind of like sitting around and just waiting along, it's going to be very, very easy to satisfy even if you don't like something or somebody. So this is something that has happened to me as a child a lot, and I've seen this in other adults. Like, oh gosh, I hate this job, but I'm doing this, I really don't like this person, but we're married, I don't know. So like, why, like what for does this happen? Is because there's not enough strength and willpower, which is what Tiger Year is about. Willpower in the system to be able to drive you out of sad or depressing circumstances. So why I'm also telling you this is because a lot of us are this way. When we look at the circles in the social systems, most people don't really want to do anything with their lives. They don't really socialize. They just put pictures online, or they just kind of say, hey. Some people don't even want to be around other people. Some people got really lazy with quarantine, and a lot of people don't want to look elsewhere. So there is like a pacified culture that is growing through the quarantine times. We have just an online position for a lot of people, and they don't really even want to see that there's anything else out there. So we have to grow up really, really quick, and especially if you were like, one of those kids at school, as I was as well, like groomed to never speak out, groomed to never say anything wrong or right, made to believe that it was kind of okay, and pacified, like peaceful with that, like wow, I'm having a shitty day, but I'm peaceful with that. Everybody who's being pacified and made into a peaceful person, made as a child, and got told not to do anything about anything, and got told not to change, these people are really obvious now. So like, for example, if you're a person that doesn't have any might or willpower, you're going to really lag this year. But there is going to be an importance of things that still needs to be worked out. So I'm really sorry if you don't want to change. So like, for example, if you're a person that knows that they don't really speak their own mind, or a person that doesn't really like or trust changing or challenging the system, that's cool. That's fine. It's just important that you know that about yourself. So if you are very easily pacified and you just enjoy kind of the shadows, like being the wallflower, and you're fine with not being seen or wanted, or you don't want to develop your muscle tone, or you don't want to develop your inner system, your endocrine system, or your organs, then it's going to eventually show with time. So when we are aging, when we pass like a certain age, we really can tell what is going on with the inner and outer system of the body, and also what your life is, what is looking like, how you've experienced it is not just an Instagram photo shoot, it is an actual force that comes with you. So even if you've been on a holiday like 5 times and you took all the Instagram photos to fill up your account, and then eventually, you didn't do anything with your life, there's going to also be part of your dream time that comes with you. So every person has a dream time that comes along with them. We know you for that. So sometimes you don't understand, but people feel or smell or associate with you because of how you feel energetically, as well as what you carry verbally, and how your body looks and smells, and what you are good at, seemingly. So it's really important not to just prep yourself up for other people. So this is not a cosmetic debate. This is not about, I'm normal, I look good in front of people. It's not about looking good about it. It's about making yourself more conscious of your own life and the rhythms in it, and being absolutely unafraid to say no. So this is something that sometimes adults have to do. So this is not just being put behind the desk and being happy with that. This is about finding the relevance of things and, you know, tasting things, like the sense of taste, the sense of smell, really important for us. You know, I don't want to eat that again. Or like, I don't really want to pick those berries again. You know, I don't want to be part of this world. And there are reasons why we're not sure of how people are around us or about us. We get really, really, really amazed when we hear like a bit of gossip or something like that. We get really frightened it's about us. And all of it hurts, like how a person sees us. Do you think that this is not enough clothes for YouTube? Do you think that I need some makeup on my face or something? We get really, really afraid. And the reason why is because there's a passivity inside that knows it doesn't really have its own shadow and light. It kind of just flows. If you imagine, we are like an ocean of fish that kind of just float. If you want to imagine, there's going to be a consequence. Okay, so for example, if you're just a fish that is floating above water, you're just floating along, there's going to be consequence if you can't fight. Most animal species fight for their lives at least once in their life. Most animal species migrate or have to protect themselves. They got to think, they got to listen, they got to feel, they got to have their ear to the ground. They got to really work this out. They got to work out their housing situation. They got to work out their lives. They can't just be jolly good. But who is jolly good? Bacteria. So like, for example, bacteria, a lot of them, they're just kind of like a farmed organism almost. They just kind of like hang out, like aphids. Aphids are a perfect thing on trees, and then they get harvested by ants. Ants actually use aphids for milk, so this is like a weird thing that happens sometimes. When I don't understand my life and I don't know where I'm going, what I'm doing, there's got to be at least somebody who benefits from what I do for nothing. People come to my house, eat my food. So like, that's the thing, it's like people will just go at you, so like sometimes, we ask, oh, what happens to that good, hardworking person? And this is like I suppose the advert for the new age on a level, because it's really just working people that didn't get their way in the system. A lot of the new agers are just working class people, and they got to ask, far out, like, what am I getting out of this? Like, what am I getting for my time? Like, where did my hard work and compliance never get me? And the Libra story is a little bit like that as well. It's a little bit busy at the moment to see, but it is the main trend within 2022. And the way that I see you, the way that I see you offering help, or not offering help, or complying or compliance, to understand, it's not the hard-working man that gets done. It's not that. It's just the person that doesn't see themselves. They don't see the forest for the trees. They don't have any pineal gland, like third eye activation. They don't have any feeling in their gut. They don't have any business of their own. They're just following what other people have done, and they just want to grow on that level. So if you have that feeling, understand what that is. It's artificial. It's artificial human life. It's an artificial life. And the reason, this happens, like farmed plants, sort of moss also that grows in certain parts of the world. Okay, that's enough. Okay, so anyway, there are lots of people that are thinking they're just like good, nice, loyal, giving, hardworking people. They're gonna get fluffed over by the predators, or the predators coming. And yes, there is a lot of predatorism in a tiger year specifically. But there is a thing here that we've got to understand, is you got to live your own life. It's not just about looking good in front of people. It's not just about passing as a normal person. It's not about, getting the ticket and riding the train and buying the sandwich because the guy next to you bought a sandwich. It isn't going to be just like that. There are communities, many communities that work exactly like this, but inside they've got a world. And the thing is, the world has to grow. So even if you come from a community of people that is very much like hush-hush, like mold, they are moldy communities. They are. And they're all exactly the same as each other. The people are, really measured against each other very, very simply since an early age, and they don't mind it. The culture of that type doesn't grow very far, but it grows always. You know what I mean? England, sometimes certain places like Indonesia, there's places that are actually susceptible to growing mold. There's a natural place, even New Zealand. There are places, many places in the world, perfect places for that type of ideology, and just walking towards whatever another person has already walked to or done. So like this is where we are, the mechanized, the mechanical age, especially right now, as everybody wants to do exactly the same as they're told and they're taught at the moment, because nobody knows what is real or wrong. So we have to basically be understood. I think that if you really, really, really want to live a life at that level, and you just want to basically comply and just make sure that your movements and your sound and your energetic rhythms are the same as other people, and you just want to kind of conclude that hardship of trying to find yourself, you don't care. Like that sort of like working man reality is actually kind of nice at the end of the day. Like you want to be just like a person that's filling out the same boots as your parents did, and their parents probably didn't but told them to, so you kind of feel like you want to do it. There's going to be repercussions. So I'm telling you, this is like fish floating above the water. If you just like like this, you're gonna get harvested. So if you are harvesting yourself like that, please understand what happens if you don't have any connection to yourself, if you're just allowing people to take from you, if you don't have any real dreams of your own, if you don't want to speak out your voice or face your demons or see who you are inside and understand what your power is, your power, not in the magazines. It's kind of like, female empowerment, or like, true hero, or like a working class hero. These are labels and they're jokes on you. So the thing is, like, unless you feel your own wrath sometimes and your own force and your own habits, there is not going to be that much left. So this is the thing. It's very, very easy to have a Libra go the wrong way in this type of year. I'm a Libra too, don't worry. I'm not making fun of you. There's a very, very easy way that people can just give you the bad thing. You can take things that you don't want to take. You can make yourself part of a story you don't even want to live through. You can give yourself away and not even know how it happened. Or you can just bring all of this forth. You can make all of this harvest, and then eventually somebody else gets to eat it. So that's the thing. It's like something else is just kind of hanging out with you, maybe for the time being, or like someone else is around and they don't even care. They just know that it's easy for you to give or for them to harvest and or clean. So this is when we have to get real. So one of the things, of course, I'm going to bring up, as you might be already a fan of my channel, if you are, please have a look at the other videos also for Libras and stuff, if you like. There is need to give thanks to your body and your blood type and everything like that, and understand what it is supporting, because sometimes the body can be supporting a whole lot of stuff that you don't even know exists in nature. And the reason why this happens is because simple passivity. Okay, if you are pacified, if you're eating the same food as everybody else, even though you are not made for it. So say you are an Indonesian person, imagine what the Indonesian people ate for such a long time. Maybe it's just like meat and rice and vegetables and a little bit of fruit for color. Maybe not that much. Okay, and now you live in, for example, in Boston, like Texas, and you're eating, steak and chicken and pizza and whatever you want. So like that's the thing. You might not have the system. You might not have the gut health of an original person from your place. So understanding that is really important. If you are taking care of yourself, you would know this. Everything changes after you cleanse. If you are able to basically shorten your spectrum of food, don't eat the cheese and the milk if your culture does not serve that stuff. It doesn't provide that usually. If it's only the last 100 or 200 years of colonization or semi-colonization that has brought certain things to your table. It's important to also understand and know and learn about this, what it is that you are gifted in and where your gifts come from. Maybe you are not at all like other people for a really good reason, because your culture has somehow manifested you as a flower on the tree. As you have grown, you probably didn't really respect this about yourself, because everybody was trying to be like everybody else. Everybody was trying to imitate the jocks at school, who were probably usually white people. So this is the thing. It's like not necessarily depending which generation you were in. So this is the thing. It's like whitewashed TV in most of the world for many a year until maybe about 10 or 20 years ago. So this is the thing, whitewashing. So like a lot of the stuff that we do and we want to do and we try to do is sometimes just based on a certain type of material that we see around us. And of course, if you see a large billboard of a beautiful woman, who's tiny, who looks 15, of course you're going to think that's what I'm meant to be. And that's the thing. It's like a lot of people don't really want to see that. They don't want to see into that. They just like how they sort of got themselves into a box, and they're quite happy with that box. In the end, the box breaks. In the end, we can't carry on. In the end, because we are human, we're only human, right? So in the end, we can't really continue putting ourselves into a smaller and smaller box, or like a less and less curious parameter, and trying to survive the ocean that is coming in 2023. Now 2023 is going to be dark, you guys. It's going to be a rabbit year. It's going to be dark. It's going to be dark as hell. It's going to be like a burrow, out of which then comes something completely different. So this is the thing. When we go into that voice, when we go into that choice, that palette of truth, it has to be real what you're doing now. So if you are going to say anything, make it real. If you're going to wear anything, make it right. If you're going to say anything about anybody, make it to their face. If you're going to make anything of yourself, make it true to your colors. Wear your colors. And also understand where you are now, wanted to be. So this is the thing, Libra, sometimes you guys have like an obvious group of people and you don't really like them until they get bored of you and they find somebody else to fill the place. You are kind of like Scotch. So you kind of like bring in this thing that everybody wants for a while because it fills the gap, or you are providing a solution that nobody else really knew existed before you. So you are helping people engineer themselves and their futures based on how you fill a gap. You kind of like cling wrap, or I don't know, an inanimate energy. I'm not being mean, I'm just inanimate energy that helps things grow, helps things work. You kind of like tacky, like a tacky material that helps things stick. So the thing is, you don't maybe want it right now, but other people have maybe already prepped a very cool place for you. So don't be afraid. If it's your mom's house, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid if it's your sister's house. Don't be afraid if it's just some girls you know from church. Okay, don't be afraid if it's just like a guy like that you've kind of been dating, kind of been seeing. Someone else has got a place for you. And the thing is, it's not just about survival here. It's just about community and where you really want it to be anyway, because you get given so much for a very small role. This is the best thing about being a Libra. It's like you show up, like you showed up, and we just knew like this is what we want. So like this is the thing, you can get paid very big money for doing something that's completely normal, natural for you. You can just become yourself. It's like, look, you guys, I just want to be myself. I just want to like hang out with you and chat about some things, or like I just want to like help you out in your house, or like help you organize your cupboards, whatever. Libras, they really think well of other people underneath it all, and they have a lot of humanness in them. But some of the time they don't recognize it because they're too busy being happy and funny for others that don't respect them or don't deserve them. So close the door on the ex, closing the door on the community that did kind of give you something and then pushed you away because they didn't want you there anymore. Maybe there wasn't actually enough space for you, because Libra sometimes can be overgrown. Like there's too much of it. The sun in Libra is really like close to the earth, and it's bigger than normal. And we sometimes don't really understand where we belong. It's like a big soul, it's like a big energy. And underneath that passivity is somebody really true. So this is the thing. Next evolution, next light sign being Sag as well. That truth bearer, eventually in the end, you become very innocent and open to just one type of person. And sometimes it's totally not cool to judge if a Libra just wants one thing. It just wants to be in the one group. It just wants to be in the shallow end, because it is so hard to fill every single gap in your life. And try so hard for all these different people and all these different character types and all these things that they've ever wanted. They always wanted to come from you. Somebody always wants you to answer their hopes and dreams and be that one right figure that right thing for them. So this is the thing, who you play with matters. If you're playing with just jobs and employments and just people that want you to fill a role, how darn depressing. If you want to play with people more your age or younger people or just people that are funny, maybe it's a little bit more impressive and maybe a little bit less curious on a level, but it could be, like, this is the thing. Sometimes you guys, you guys could be very, very interested in somebody who's very, very old and secure, but you can't really, like, be happy with just a bunch of people. Just be in a bunch of people, especially if they're young and they're zealous and, they got some fire going on. If you like, get competitive too. It would give you luck. You would luck out if you had some curious things to say or like some curious jobs to do. And it's not just about being a worker bee, it's actually about having responsibility in a funny way. Responsibility, I think that's gonna come anyway. So responsibilities after August, like October month, is going to be very, very nice and timely and safe to see you where you are. So for example, you're driving people places now, very cool. You're dressing in a certain way, great. You have to turn up at this job every time at a certain hour, fantastic. So why this looks very, very, very cool is because you are kind of lucky with that. At the end of the year, like in the second part, it's almost like you revel in it. It's like, yeah, now I get to be a mom, awesome. Or like, now I get to like have all these friends at my house, I love it. So that's a very, very nice giving time, but believe it or don't. So that's the thing, it's either you are in or you're out. And it's also not just a thing that you're doing, you're part of a collective system of friends or people, or you are part of a big cycle. It's always a big cycle underneath even the most normal, natural life. Like, what do? I don't know, I go to the shops, I get the doll, I don't know, I sit there, look at the screen. You're still part of something bigger than you. You're part of a certain movement of people that are doing that. What are you doing? I don't know, I'm traveling around. Like, I'm just like a nomad. I just like meet people around the world. I don't know, I get bored. I like cafes, I like the beach. That's a very interesting tribe. That's a completely polar opposite tribe to that. So it's important to be part of a global vision for anybody right now and to understand what world they're manifesting with their light. So for example, okay, I just get the doll, haha, like the government pays for me, haha, I don't care about it. I lie about my employment issues, haha, I lie about being sick, haha. See, like, what are you a part of and what are you taking from? And then, like, for example, if you really, really, really want to be like breathtaking for yourself, like, think about how many different lives you could have lived in that time while you were choosing something kind of boring. Also, I mean, you don't have to do this, but idealize some parts of your past, wow, like when I was in my 20s, I used to like grow my own vegetables. Wow, that was cool. That was cool. For 3 years, I grew my own vegetables. Or like, for example, wow, when I was 40, I actually fell in love with this incredible person. We just like went somewhere together. It was so much fun. I had so much fun. I've been like to like so many different places I never even thought I would ever visit in my life. Like this is a very, very beautiful thing. So like there is like a thing that sometimes we're missing, and that's perspective. So it's important not to just plod along and not to let your life be drab. It's a very, very incredible time to esteem a little bit and maybe find some better friends and bigger people and better communities to be around and to be spiked by it all and to have a tasty world. So that's probably the most I can do for you at this time. Thank you very much. If you like, have a look at my book, 2022 Year of the Water Tiger is the almanac for the year. So the colored version is digital and the black and white version is physical. If you like to scribble, get the black and white version. If you'd like, see me for a reading, and also if you would like, check out my website, everything like that. Everything should be in the links below. Thank you very much. La-di-da-di-da. Enjoy your year, and I'll see you later.